everybody. It was the 5, 6, 7, 8 fucking second pose, throwing F-bombs out right out the gate, ladies and gentlemen. I am your neighborhood friendly coach, trainer, promoter, 43-year-old professional wrestler, Zack. Primetime Reeb, and I'm joined alongside my podcast partner, as always, the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. Paul, welcome back to the Thunderdome.
The Thunderdome. Nice. Yeah, man, it's been a while. I got back into the office instead of going outside by the pool. Just want to try out some new stuff. Microphone, headphones, all that stuff. So we'll see what
Welcome
it
to the
sounds
dance,
like.
baby.
Yeah, we'll see what it sounds like.
Welcome to the dance.
That's it, man. Yeah, man. I was obviously you're getting busy, ready for your event on Saturday. Lots of big stuff planned, and I was in Carson City, Nevada today, doing some promoting myself. So excited to see that I went to the venue, which I've been in before, but I haven't seen it since we booked the show. We had somebody, Larry was like, "Hey, I think this building would be great," and I'm like, I remember it being a big building and the ability to seat a bunch of people and thinking we should run a wrestling show here, but just never pulling the trigger. So went down there and checked it out, and I was expecting to have to, I was half expecting having to put posters up in the building, So, but I walked in there and our guys in Carson City took care of it. It's all postered up and ready to rock and roll. So exciting with that. But yeah, looks like hopefully it'll be easy in, easy out. Bleachers, cool stuff. So hopefully everything's going to work out well. But how's your day going? You're all dirty and got to change shirts, so you're not filthy on the podcast.
I'm never going to get this spray paint off my feet unless I get some of that fast orange. I'm hoping that my dad, the hot rod mechanic that can fix anything without a computer in it now, I'm hoping I can go out into the garage and find some fast orange. Luckily, my best buddy, Rick Luxury, is still here. He's been here for a little over a couple weeks now, and he doesn't know it yet. But I am not the most flexible man in the world. So when I get the fast orange out of the garage, he's going to be giving me not a long one, but a minimal foot massage. You can hear him in the background back there. A lot to talk about today, and that's exciting, man. And what's exciting about it for me is that I am a part of this. I am a part of your journey, and I'm on your journey with you. So when you reach your destination, I will reach your destination with you, my friend, because that's how we effing do this damn thing. And I wanted to, speaking of Rick, last Monday we were in Lodi at the 209 Dragon's Den, and 2 Mondays ago, and this past Monday, this one that just happened, we were at East Bay Pro, which Maynard said, "Hey, I've never been on a podcast before. When am I going to get on a podcast?" I said, "Hey, buddy, we got you." He said, "I don't think Paul likes me." I said, "Paul loves you. We'll get you on the podcast, and I want to hear every derogatory remark that this man has to say." So I think that's going to be an exciting one myself. But really, one thing that I really noticed was from that first seminar to this seminar, when we got in the truck driving back, I told Rick, I said, he had this really cool way to talk about the international spot, because everybody loves the international. Wait, do you know what the international spot is? Of course I know what the international spot is. How could I be a pro wrestler without the international spot, right? And I asked Rick, I said, "Hey, why are you doing that spot right now? Why are we not working on the lockup?" I said, "Why aren't these guys warming up for 5-10 minutes with the lockup, push him back to the ropes, break off, circle around. Why are we not doing that? The very first thing that we do in professional wrestling. And I remember him telling me, and no knock on anybody. It's no knock, man. I love what Matt Freeman's doing out there. Love Matt Freeman. I love what he's got going on, and he's working hard. And East Bay Pro's running 52 damn shows a year, man. You know, they're putting it on. He's paying the bills, and the bills are high, and I love it, man. He is the epitome of setting boundaries on. Oh, you took one of my waters? Leave a fucking dollar on the table in there, man. The man gets his money. He's a businessman. Shout out to you, Maynard. But the thing was, and like I said, no offense. Like I said, it's an informative podcast. Rick said, well, I just want them to take away one thing from these seminars. And he said, we can't fix everything. And I said, we may not be able to fix everything, but we sure the fuck can go back to the very first thing that we do, waltzing and the collar and elbow tie up, and we can fix that today. So if we go back and fix that today, then that's the best thing that we could possibly do in the business, because that's the first thing that these young men and women should know, and should know how to do well.
Right. And I think when you were telling me about this, it was, I think about, there was a girl that was training with us, and, we were working on taking snap bumps. She's like, do I have to keep doing this? And I said, well, this is the thing you're going to do most in a match. This is the type of bump you're going to take the most throughout a match. So you have to be really good at this, borderline perfect at this, taking a snap bump. So, if you're not doing those things repetitively that you're going to be doing the most of throughout a wrestling match, then you're not going to be a good pro wrestler. So to your point, with being able to lock up, the thing that you're going to do at the beginning of damn near every match, and so many people say that that's the way that they can tell if you're a good wrestler or if it's going to be a good match, is I can tell by your lockup. Is your lockup believable? Does it look like we're going to be in a fight? Does it look like you're trying to grab a hold of this person and gain control? A lot of these things, we look at and just go, is the believability there? As much as we go, oh, this is phony, bullshit, fake fighting in your underwear, you want to be able to, suspend disbelief for, I've said 2 hours, right? That's the amount of time that I think a show is going to go on, right? We're going to have 2 hours, and I want the fans to be able to get lost in it for 2 hours. So if the beginning of the match doesn't look like a believable fight, like you're trying to gain the upper hand, then we're failing, right? We're not doing the right thing as trainers if we're not getting the basics established. So, but I don't know. I think when you're teaching the international spot, I feel like it's called that because wrestling is a universal language, and it's something almost like this is going to span all the different languages, right? All the different types of wrestling. You're going to be able to be like, this is what we're doing. I feel like it's almost a timing mechanism, right? Let's get our timing, understand how quickly someone's going to come off the rope, so you can kind of, judge as the match goes on. And I know some people will argue that you're going to can your whole match, so you're already going to know how fast someone's doing stuff because you've practiced it 100 times before the show started. But go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, now you're moving around. Are you noticing that your screen has been pausing nonstop? I can hear you, but from what I'm looking at my screen, I'm good over. Hi, everyone. I'm good over here, but you're paused right now. So I don't know.
Man. It is, I'm assuming it is some sort of internet connection, because I do see it says connection is unstable. It looks good. You look great on my end. So, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what happens when it gets to when it's on live or when it's running on the on Friday, right?
But you can see yourself normal, right?
I can see myself normal, and I can
Well,
see
hell
you.
yeah. Let's fucking rock and roll then, baby. I'm ready to go. Well, it was like I was watching the way he was talking about the international spot, and you hit the tackle, right? You don't want to get out of that headlock because you can beat somebody with that headlock. That's the finisher. And Rick's also saying, don't roll the guy up. He said, why would you roll somebody up right at the start of the match? You're not going to beat him because you haven't done nothing to him yet. You've just had him in this fucking headlock, right? And you come off the rope and you hit that big tackle and knock this guy over. And the 99.9, maybe even 100% of the guys at the seminars, when he said, what's next? They're like, run off the ropes. And he's like, no, he's on his back. Now you can pin him. You've just mowed him over. Now you pin him. He kicks out, and now you can run off the rope if you'd like, or you can pick him back up in a clinch, throw him back in the headlock, and now when you shoot him off the rope the second time, now because he's already taken the tackle and he's not a dumb wrestler, he can do the drop down and then the leapfrog and then hip toss, drop kick, whatever you want to throw in. But it's tackle and they go running off the ropes. And it's like, don't go running off the ropes. It's the start of the match. It's the first time you bump the guy, right? It's like, cover him. That's when you cover him. You don't cover him on a roll up after a headlock takeover, or you cover him after you tackle him because he's right there at your feet. And the possibility that maybe you could beat this guy then. And even though the tackle has become just this vehicle, I like to call it that. It's a vehicle. It's a vehicle to get to the drop down. It's a vehicle to get to the next spot. The chain wrestling has become a vehicle to get to the tackle, to get to the next spot. Because if we come running off the ropes and do a drop down and a leapfrog and a drop kick, we are really good professional wrestlers. And I heard a guy say it on one of the podcasts. He said, how can you say you're a professional wrestler when you can't professionally wrestle?
Well, let me throw this idea at you, because when you were telling me about that, it was like it makes sense. I can see that that point of view. But what if me as a big wrestler hit a guy with a tackle and immediately I hit the ropes because I'm going to hit him with a um, elbow dropper, or I'm going to hit him with something that's got some momentum behind it, right? Spring off the ropes. It's going to give me a little extra momentum, and I'm dropping an elbow on him. That's the reason that I'm hitting the ropes, right? And then the reason that the guy is dropping down is because he doesn't want me to hit another maneuver like that. So I was thinking about it as you're telling me, and I can see both schools of thought. You know, and I've never. It's not like somebody has told me before. This is the reason why we do an international spot.
Show what you're doing. If you're going to knock the guy on his ass, tell the audience, show him. Show him. If you're going to come off the rope to hit another tackle, tell him that worked. I'm coming for another one and come off the ropes. And, it was great to see Aaliyah Mia Sweets again back in the ring training at the seminar. And I forgot how good she is. I forgot how humble she is. I forgot how hard she works. And she had a lot of good questions for me. And one thing she asked me was she had hit, oh God, I don't know what move she hit. I think she had hit it might have been a tackle, and she went for a cover, and she aggressively went after the kick out. And I said, hey, when they kick out, grab a hold of them, but give yourself a second to look at the audience and then snatch on what you're snatching on. And she said, well, how do you know when to engage with the audience? And I said, every single time. It's every single time. There's guys out there. I used to say it to someone all the time. There was this big guy, and he would give you a concussion. You wouldn't make it to work on Monday with a forearm, right? He'd just forearm your fucking block off, and all you'd see is stars, whatever. and then he would kick you, and it would look like he didn't even kick you at all. It was like very bad. And I said, hey man, if you're going to give us a concussion so we can't go to work on Monday, go ahead and break my fucking ribs too. You know what I mean? And it's one of the things I'm noticing about guys, and I noticed a lot in these last, I mean, we've had 8 classes with seminars, 8 of them in 2 weeks now. So this is all I've been doing. Plus 3, this is about to be our third or fourth show. So it's been wrestling, meetings, promoting. And one thing I'm noticing is like, I try to tell some of these guys, if you're going to hit me so fucking hard in my back that I'm really going to have to sell, I'm not selling at this point. I'm really selling because it hurt. Let me sell. If you're going to hit me that hard, let me sell. Don't come up and I hate when the guy's walking down the ropes trying to sell to the next location and the guy like throws in like 2 little stupid weak shots for no reason. It's like, what are you doing? If I hit you with a forearm, a chop, a European uppercut, a punch, a fucking knee to the gut, shot over the back, elbow to the neck, if I hit you with some heat, go ahead and sell my heat. Because the more you sell my shot, the stronger I look as a competitor. If you don't sell my offense, my free heat, then you make me look weak. And whatever you do to me, you are beating or wrestling, in the fans' eyes, a very weak competitor.
Absolutely. And I know you hear people say less is more all the time, which, I mean, you think it's like, oh, give less offense, but it's exactly what you're saying. You know, we're giving less offense, but it's because we want the person to sell the stuff that we're giving. I don't know how many times I've said, if you punch the guy 6 times in the face in the corner, and then you go to whip him and he reverses you and hits you with something in the other corner, your 6 punches were fucking terrible. They were weak. They didn't cause any damage at all, right? But if you hit a guy with 1 big punch and then you let him register it and you let him sell it and things like that, it means so much more, right? It means like that punch was devastating, you know. So instead of hitting a guy with 10 punches in the corner, and then just quickly moving on to whatever's next, if you're able to hit the guy with 1 punch and let him sell it and register it. And I know I've made this comment to you before about, hey, how long can you sell 1 punch for me? And the response was, until you come back and get me, right? Yeah. I can sell 1 punch for as long as I need to, you know, as long as you're, you know, working the crowd, I can make it look like you took my head off with 1 punch, because in most cases, people understand what it feels like to get punched. So it's not something that you're just going to quickly shake off. It could be something that that makes the cartoon Tweety birds go around the head, right? You get that flash of light sometimes, borderline concussion potentially. So, which is what it definitely intrigues me about this slap fighting, right? The power slap or whatever. I'm like, fuck, dude, these guys are getting destroyed. And then sometimes when you see the guy takes a solid shot and they don't even register at all, and I'm just like, fuck, that dude's got a tough chin right there. Dude could take some pain, punishment. So, but yeah, I mean, it's so important to be able to, sell the offense, right? It's a combination of, don't make me look weak and don't look like Superman, right? Don't look like I can punch you 6 times in the face and it doesn't phase you at all. Of course, unless that's your character. But on the other side of the coin, it's like now my punches look completely weak if I punch you a bunch of times and we go quickly into whatever the next sequence is. The like you said, it's the way to get to the next spot. I'll just use this quick little thing, and then we'll go to the next thing. I won't let the guy register or sell, so the audience doesn't know. that he's in pain or he's on Dream Street. So definitely we need to focus on doing that type of stuff as well, selling those the little things even.
Well, what's selling nowadays? If you really think about it, what is selling nowadays? Because you cannot get somebody to sell. And that's why I think it's so cool when you can tell somebody, like for me, I don't need to sit there when you come through the curtain. And it's something I recently picked up too. So this isn't like I'm something new. Something that's old I'm saying is new. It's something new to me. It's like I don't have to sit there anymore when you're coming through the curtain. The only things I need to tell you as a promoter running a company is if you're not selling for the guy, you're making his character look weak, right? If your heat is bad, then you're making him look, he's getting no sympathy from you. So the heat and the selling is something I'll immediately tell somebody. If the bump and feed, whether it's a tag or a singles on the comeback, if that is weak and too slow, I'm definitely going to tell you, because we talked many times, and especially with the Ballards, about the comeback is the most important part because that bump and feed. So the finish is what people are going to remember. So those three things and the finish. If you fuck up a finish, you're going to hear from me right away as a promoter. But if you're throwing okay heat and the guy's selling for you, and listening to the audience too, man. I talk about that so much. It's like you have to listen to the audience. I heard someone ask Rick, they said, how do you know as a baby face when to work up, when the heat's being put on you, like whether you're crawling to the ropes or something? And Rick just pointed out, and he pointed out towards the audience, and he said, they'll tell you, because that's what we always talk about. The audience will tell you. We don't have to wonder when. And for a lot of young guys too, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to build as a baby face. Don't be afraid to build back up from the bottom and create your own opportunity to break away and get cut off. You don't need to call 3 or 4 spots. You can just call one simple thing. Hit me with a kitchen sink, back elbow, clothesline, backdrop, hip toss, whatever the fuck you, body slam, arm. I don't give a fuck. Headlock takeover. Grab my nuts. I don't care what you do. But and for the heels, the young heels, even though I don't think there should be a lot of those out there, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to put some heat on the guy, and don't be afraid to tell him to fight back. Don't be afraid to. That's one thing I always noticed wrestling veteran guys when I was coming up. They would be like, punch me again, again, again. And then I eventually, after enough times, was like, oh, this guy actually does want me to fire back. He doesn't just want to beat up on me and tell me what to do. He wants me to use my fucking brain and start firing, because you know what it was? He heard the crowd getting behind me because he was kicking my ass. So he's not just saying fire back because he's like, fire back, just for the hell of it. He's like, oh, the audience is getting behind this kid. This is working. Hey, punch me, kid. Again, whip me off the road. He these veteran guys, they feel it. They feel it because they know it's time, because it's not just because they're a veteran, it's because they know how to do this with the audience.
And I don't know how many times you get that as well, where it's like, as a heel, I'm going to cut you off whenever I'm ready to cut you off, right? So if you're firing back, I'm gonna wait till the crowd starts getting up, and then I'm gonna fucking shut you down, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because I'm listening to what's going on as well. So, it doesn't get any more important than that, right? It's like as a baby face, you can do things just. We've been talking about this. We're still doing the 4-corner drill that you were talking to us about a couple weeks ago. Just trying to improve on that, and little subtle things that you can add in there that are you can look as it like some sort of hope spot as simple as just pushing the guy away from you to gain some distance, right? The guy's kicking my ass. I'm going to push him away from me just to try to get some distance from him with the expectation that the heel is going to stay on top of me, right? Stay in some sort of proximity and keep putting heat on me, right? So it can be as simple as just pushing the guy away, giving the guy, a punch to the gut, whatever it is, something simplistic. And I always think that it's great when it's like, all right, if you don't have to tell somebody to keep firing up, that's awesome. But if you do have to do it, like you're telling the guy, hey, fire up, give me another one, because like as the crowd's coming up, all right, perfect. Now that's the time I'm gonna fucking shut this guy down, right?
Well, what gets me right, what gets me is what makes a professional, whether it's basketball, whether it's acting, whether anything. What makes a true professional? It's somebody that continually practices their craft every day. The basic and fundamental. You're a singer and actor. You know what I mean? Like whatever if you're somebody who's not practicing their craft every single day, are you really a pro, or are you just a guy and girl that's playing a sport or doing an activity for fun? I'm pretty sure you're just doing an activity for fun that you like. And I thought of this weekend, and I sent it to another wrestler. I said, if Michael Jordan doesn't work his ass off at the basics and fundamentals of basketball, does he become Michael Jordan? And then I said, no, a better question. If Michael Jordan doesn't practice every day from day one the basics and fundamentals of basketball, does Michael Jordan even make it to the league? You know what I mean? Like, does Jordan's in the league and he just decides, hey, man, I'm cool. I'm Michael Jordan. I ain't going to practice basketball no more because I know how to play it already, right? Does he win those championships? Absolutely not. I heard another quote the other day. They said, I was in LA when basketball, I forgot what the guy's name was, but he's like, we're at the Staples Center. We're playing the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. I get to the building early, like 3:00. He said, I walk in the building and Kobe's in there playing. I said, I'm going to make 400 shots. I stay in there for about an hour and a half or so. And Kobe's still covered in sweat playing. He said, I sit down and take my stuff off and go, man, let me see how long this guy's going to do this. And he stays for another 30, 40 minutes. And he's like, why did that guy do that long? He said, then Kobe dropped 40 on him that night. And he said, I had to know. He said, I went up to him and I said, hey, why did you work that hard? And he said, because I saw you walk in the building. And he said, and I'm willing to work harder than you are. He said, nothing against you. I like you, man. But he said, you motivated me. And that's the level of what it takes to be something special, especially in this business, man. You have to be willing. And the key word there is fucking willing. If you're not willing to come in this door and put in whatever work it takes, miss birthdays, miss funerals, miss shit that you might go into the lake this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? It probably, good probability, might not happen for you.
Exactly. So I think it's one of those deals where you're talking about that it's going to take to get to that level. And I was talking to one of our guys today. We were going and looking at a different venue, and he was asking me questions about cutting promos. Like, how do you cut a promo? And I was like, yeah, I didn't quite understand the question. I didn't know if he was talking about just how do you cut a promo in general, or mindset, or what exactly are we talking about? So I'm just like, the advice that I've heard for forever is a promo is like a match. It needs to have the ebbs and flows, and I believe wholeheartedly in talking up your opponent. So then if you beat this guy, it actually means something. Talking about those type of things, and uh, you know, the biggest thing that I said was you have to fail at it. Cut some. You got to cut promos in the mirror. I told them I used to cut promos in the fucking stand up tanning bed. Um, I was like, all right, I'm going to be in here for 8 minutes. I got to cut promos for the entire time that I'm in here, and it's like you could talk about. Obviously, it was always easy to talk about guys that you're around and you're wrestling and things like that, and stuff about them, and one of the bigger things is, and I've mentioned this to you about like cutting promos in, how would Stone Cold cut a promo? How would, Undertaker cut a promo? How does The Rock cut a promo? All right, now how does your character cut a promo? What does your character say? And, knowing what your character portrays, and, what's your character all about? How does your character talk? What is your character, is your character going to out wrestle someone? Are you going to just beat someone up? What are the characteristics of your character that you could talk about? So, doing things like that, and like you just said, it comes down to, are you willing to put in the repetitions, right? Videotape yourself cutting promos, send it to other people, get critiques, watch it yourself. Does it look believable? Does it look like shit? What is it? What can you do to get better? And the bottom line is, you got to practice. You got to put in the repetitions. And I kind of laughed as you say, like, the excuses for not doing things, right? My grandma's birthday, going camping, all these different things. It's like, if you want to get good at these things, and I know that we've talked about it before. It's like, training times are you know exactly what time training is and which days. So if there's something coming up, somebody wants to go out to dinner with you, you want to celebrate something, hey, can we do it outside of these 2 hours on this day, or these 3 hours on this day? Like, I've got something that I'm working towards, right? I want to become a professional wrestler, and these are the times that I'm able to go work on my craft in my training school. So let's plan something outside of those times. So it just makes me chuckle that you bring that up, and it's just, I've had it so many times with students and basketball players and things like that. Like, we had a kid that was, oh well, I was sick on Christmas, so we're going to open presents today. It's like, well, why don't you do it after we're done with practice? Oh, sorry, coach, I got to leave an hour early. It's like, that's bullshit, dude. What do you want to be a basketball player, or is it more important to open your Christmas presents? You can't open your Christmas presents an hour or two later. You have to do it right in the middle of practice time.
Fuck your Christmas presents. Hey, so you don't just cut a promo and just post it right away. You got to actually go back and take a peek at it to see.
No, always post it before editing it as well. So
Immediately throw it on
yeah,
action. Well,
right.
what's the promo, right? Everyone thinks that they have to have a selected promo. They're practicing one promo. I've been getting it a lot. I see people doing it online. People have sent them to me, and they started talking to me about. And I've had a guy talk to me about the promo before, and he's got a catchphrase, which cool, man. If you got a catchphrase, gimmick, whatever, character, cool. Use your catchphrase. You know what time it is. I say that, and I use different variations of it for years. Sometimes I don't say nothing. Sometimes I just show it. But if you're working at a company, whether it's a win and you're going up the ladder, or it's a loss and you're moving down the ladder, or you're teetering right here in the middle, if you are working for somebody and you don't have any, then either A, you don't understand shit happening for you in said company. Because if I walk into a company and it's my first time there, now I'm going to introduce myself. Okay? I'm going to introduce myself. If I get a win, the next time I come back out, I'm going to talk about that victory and how many more do I have? I got that first one. How many more do I got to get before I start moving up this ladder and getting a shot at the title? And it varies whether I'm the heel or the baby face, right? If I lose, I come back. And if I'm the baby face, I talk about it's my very first time. But there's always something to talk about. What was the last thing that happened to you here? How does your character feel about that? The promo should never be the same thing. I always see these guys working on the same promo and they're saying the same shit. Every fucking one I see on the internet, they're saying the same stuff. They're like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and you ain't nothing, and I'm 10 steps ahead of you, and I'm coming for you. And who gives a shit what town, right? They tell you to say what town you're in, what promo, the who, what, where, when, why, how of the promo. Well, let's just be honest right here. A lot of these promos that you're going to cut online ain't going to get nothing. They ain't going to get no feedback. They ain't going to get no interaction. You ain't going to get no likes. You ain't going to get no comments. Wrestlers, especially online, unless there's like a big groupie clique of them local, are there. That's who's going to comment and post, or some marquee ass fan's going to comment and post. And when the marquee ass fan, no offense, right? None taken. When the marquee ass fan makes the post and goes, oh man, and he starts getting involved with the wrestler, and the wrestler's getting back involved with the marquee ass fan, it's like, guys, keep this shit separate. You don't have to engage with this fan. Heart his post. Privately, man, whatever, man. I don't know. I just don't like the engagement right there. It's like if you're gonna cut a promo, make something. We talked about it the other day with the ugly students, how they're always making the highlight videos and stuff for themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. I heard Karrion Cross say the other day, I went up to the WWE talent, whatever, the guys in charge, and he said, hey, I don't want to wait around till Monday, next Monday, for to see what's next, or if I'm going to do something next. He said, "Can I make my own content?" And they're like, "Yeah, but it's got to be sensible content that you're creating for yourself." Like he said, I can't be like, "I'm challenging you, John Cena, for the championship on Monday night," and his own content on his own social media, because then he's giving the fans the sense he's fucking the company. He's like, he's not really going to wrestle John Cena. That's not happening. So keep your content relatable with what you got going on with that promotion, and don't be afraid to put your content out there. I see those kids at the Ugly Dojo. Don't be afraid to put your highlight videos out there. Don't be afraid to learn a little bit about editing and every day post a short or a reel or you doing a move. Why not? I see it. Keep yourself relevant in the fans and our eyes. But that doesn't mean that you have to continue conversations with fans on social media, man. You're using social media the wrong way. Guess what? If that fan is following you around to an independent wrestling show and that fan is commenting on your shit, he'll be at the next show you're at. You don't have to go online and lick his nuts to get him back or get her back in the building, which those wouldn't be nuts. That would be a vagina. So you don't have to go down to any private area on a fan on social media and they'll be there, okay? And you can interact with them if you'd like. If they set up some type of VIP meeting and you're getting paid for it, you can go out there and do that too. If you'd like to go sell some merchandise at intermission, feel free to. But if you want to go out and have a meal with a fan, if you want to if you think that's what's going to sell you an extra $20 t-shirt, by all means, man, get a quarter of a tank of gas in your car. Go for it.
Oh, that's great stuff, man. But yeah, obviously, a lot of the guys that you always kind of talk to me about, like I bring in different people, and try out guys and gives you an opportunity to see them as well. But for me, that's always what it is. It's somebody catches my eye because they posted something on social media, right? Something that you see intrigues you and go, oh shit, I could use that for fill in the blank. So, that stuff is all good, man. And I do think it's funny that you're like talking about you're in some sort of conversation with some fan online. It's like, it doesn't fucking matter, man. They're, they, you engage them because you think it's going to do you some sort of service, but they're a wrestling fan. If they're watching you on social media, they're coming to the shows as well. Because so many people, I'm sure, just they watch the product, but they don't care enough to post something online. I feel like that's very few and far between. We see that with comments on our podcast. You got 100 and something people watch it, and you only have 3 or 4 comments. So not everybody is quick to comment on the stuff, but when the people are commenting, they're paying close attention. So those are the people that you don't really have to worry about as much, because you already know they're keeping a keen eye on what's going on, and it's important for them in their own mind to comment on what you're doing, right? Whether that's to try to get under your skin or make other people laugh because I posted this funny comment, or trying to get under this guy's skin online, or whatever it is. Those are the people that are gonna they're gonna be watching. They're gonna be following along with what's going on. So trying to get a hold of those people that maybe aren't as interested and making them more interested. I think about just the trip that I took to Carson City today to try to promote for this coming up show, and talking to the people at there's a venue, and then there's a swimming pool across the street. So trying to talk to the people about, well, hey, what's going on right next door, in less than 2 weeks. And the girl's like, oh, sweet. Can I have one of those posters? It's like, yeah, absolutely. Share with your friends, make sure that they know what's going on. Make sure you bring a handful of friends with you, make sure it's going to be a great time. Come enjoy it, So,
I love that. I love that when you say that stuff.
Right. So I don't know, man.
It's full of friends. We're going to have a lot of fun.
That's it. You're like Jekyll's. Come enjoy the show.
Hello, we're gonna have a blasty blast of fun at Baskin Robbins. Well, that's the thing too. Is like, if what's Randy, our boy Randy, that films all the matches and puts them up for the boys. It's like all the boys love that he films and puts those things up, and the promoters, they need to either hire him to do that so that he's there doing it, or they need to be filming more too, because the guys people want their footage, man. They want to watch it. They want to get better. I don't know how much of my fucking footage that I did in Japan and Portugal and fucking APW Revolution. Like, there's so many matches I want to go back and watch. There's probably 500 matches altogether with some amazing talent that people know that I had great matches, and I mean great matches with, but I've never seen it. I've never got to go back and watch it and relive it. Now I think if I go to Click Wrestle to see some of that stuff I did with Claudio and a few of the other guys, I think it's like $1. It's not $9.99 no more. It's $1.99. So I could get those and watch it. But I feel that my game now, I'm a completely different person than I was back then. My game in 1 week has changed. And you were talking about like the impressive stuff. What impresses you? I remember when the Aiden Andrews kid hit the ring in that battle royal and was just his heat looked good, and he came in with energy and took it serious and was putting it to people. I remember Zack took it serious at the battle royal at the Summer Stroll and really caught my eye and his performance out there, because everybody else kind of mailbagged it in. I was like, get out there. It's a battle royal. You get more time. Do something. Practice some shit. He went out there and took advantage of that. And now if you look at the card, he's in the four-way. I got him in the four-way. He's nervous as shit, right? And I love it. I love that he's nervous. I love that he knows this is the biggest opportunity of his career, and he's nervous as shit. And I know for a fact that that kid's going to go out there. He's going to learn, but I know he's going to put it on in whatever way he's going to do it. So we look online. I want to see a match. I want to see a bell to bell. I want to see a cool little highlight reel that you put up. I want to see something that you do that actually shows me who you are. Who are you, dude? What? Not just what your name is, not what you think your gimmick should be. Like, who are you? Show me something. I want to see how you move around the ring. I want to see a match, a 10-minute match that you post online wrestling a Boyce LeGrand or somebody like that. Somebody, Vinny Massaro. Let me see the West Coast. I want to see a full West Coast match, or when Vinny goes and works somewhere else. I want to see him wrestling my student Brandon Nash, or just some young talent out there in the local indies that maybe I could book, and I could get a hold of Vinny and I could say, hey, what do you think of this guy? Because Vinny ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? Vinny, I remember sitting at the Cow Palace show, and it was Carl Fredericks versus Will Quibos, and it was for the Internet Championship. And I think Adam and Lust sitting down a couple seats in front of us, and both guys were wrestling like babyface, but doing some heel stuff. And Vinny was picking on Adam. And Adam was visibly getting frustrated at Vinny. Vinny sat down right next to me, and he kept talking to Adam and egging at him about just egging him on about, like, hey, I thought what's your boy face or a heel? Why is he wrestling like a heel? And Adam kept turning and saying stuff to him. And then Vinny would like turn. And I love Vinny because he doesn't give one shit, let alone two. He don't give one shit. Vinny's been in the business for fuck, man. We think we've been in the business. Vinny's been in the business way like years before us. He was young. He was just a young coming up under Modest and Morgan and all those guys, man. He was there for all that stuff, man. And he's still around the bit. Shit, I just saw a video like 6 months ago. The motherfucker, I know he's older than me. He was putting it on in Japan. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Getting back to you're talking about guys being nervous, and I talk to my daughters about this all the time, about how when I was playing college basketball, being nervous before every practice. I knew like there was people that were way better than me, and I was going to have to go in there and I was going to have to prove myself. So I always think when someone's nervous about a match, that just means that you give a shit, right? You care about it. You want it to be good. You're nervous that it's going to be bad, right? You're like, fuck, man, what do I need to do to make sure I don't shit the bed, right? So I always like that. I always like it when somebody's nervous. It just shows me that they care. They want to be good at this. So I always think that that's pretty good little barometer, right? Does this person want to be a good wrestler, or do they not? You always say, if you're not nervous going through the curtain, it's probably time to hang them up, right? So
For
I
sure.
think about myself all the time. I'm like, I feel like I'm confident in my ability, but at the same time, there's always a little bit of you that's just like, what if, man? What if I can't do it tonight, or whatever it is? So I always think that's it's good to have those butterflies and stuff like that. So I always like that, analogy, right? If you're nervous, you probably care about it, and you want to be good at it. You want to do a good job, so it's probably a good sign. in that aspect. So yeah, so gosh, man, I'm thinking about these guys that you see those cool highlights, right? And it reminds me of the conversation with Edlo, right? What do you bring to the table that someone else can't do, right? What makes you different? Why should I use you? What makes you stand out, right? So, and I think about some of those things you just mentioned. Fire in a battle royal. Not taking it for granted, not just going, oh, it's only a battle royal. Looking at the positive and going, okay, here's my opportunity to come out and show these guys what I can do, right? These guys don't know me from the next guy, but how am I going to make myself stand out and separate myself from some of these other guys? So, great opportunity, and hopefully, hopefully Mr. Bay takes advantage, right? This is his opportunity to shine, and hopefully he steps up and gets the job done. And you think about, okay, well, you did well there. What more opportunities can I give you moving forward? So hopefully that's something that he capitalizes on for sure. I'm definitely pulling for the guy.
He will. Like that's one thing I'm learning about these guys is, the arsonist, Don Stockton. Cash has a lot going on with the new kid, and he's not at practice much anymore. Zack Bay, Ethan Reno, man, I'm working out with him every day. Watching Brandon Nash, man, I'm name dropping here. Yeah, you heard it, motherfuckers. I'm name dropping, but watching Brandon Nash, I hear so much like he's got a mouth on him. Yeah, he does. A lot of people do. But you know what? What I tell him is, hey, when you're in the ring, when you're practicing, you have to train just like you do when you're walking to that ring and you almost get that person to want to fight you. That's how you have to train. You can't just leave just go through the motions, because then when you get in the ring, that's what's going to happen. And too many guys, and you can attest to this shit, too many guys, man, it's like they turn the boom box or the speaker, the pod speaker or whatever on at home. I don't know. And they got their big mirror and they practice their entrance, right? And they come through the ropes and they step back out. And how many times on the indies does the guy come out and go, come on, whatever fucking town I'm in? And then he does this beautiful entrance to the ring. He knows exactly when the bass or the beat's going to pop. And he gets in the ring and you're like, wow, that was a cool entrance. And then the match fucking starts. And it's like this guy's wrestling in an empty dungeon with nobody around. You know what I mean? It's like, I bet that's the same level of excitement when he's beating his dick. You know what I mean? Like that's what he does. There's no energy to it, man. Like, do you not enjoy the video you're watching here? You got to be like, oh yeah, man. Oh, come on. Yeah. Get into that, man. So they come out and they got this great entrance and they get in the ring and they're just fucking, now I'm going to do moves. I'm going to do moves because that's what these fans want to see. And it's like, no, it isn't. They want you to interact with them. They need you to interact with them, because I say it all the time. That damn pandemic with no fans that almost drove me to not ever want to do this again. Going to different companies and watching them silently film episodes of matches with no fans. Shh, keep it down, because we can't hear what's going on in the ring. Well, no shit. That's completely opposite of what professional wrestling is supposed to be like. And I'm not going to sit here and oblige with what you want. You want me to keep absolutely quiet so you can film a wrestling match with no fans or fan participation? I don't think so, man. I am not going to take a part in this. I get you're trying to make content in a world where we think everybody's going to die. It's the apocalypse. but I would rather die than wrestle matches with no audience. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 5 minutes remain in this podcast. Big Paul. Paul, question for you: would you rather die or wrestle your entire career with no fans to buy your merchandise, no fans to stroke your big old ego?
Oh, I would despise that. The wrestling in front of no fans. That's I feel like that's the reason that we do it. But getting back to that, what you were just talking about, like you practice like you play, right? You hear that so many times, and I was just listening to a clip from the Yukon women's coach Gino Ariama or whatever however you pronounce his last name, but he was talking about, like, if you practice at this level and then you get to the tournament, you don't expect that you've been practicing at this level that all of a sudden the competition gets higher and you're going to raise your game up, right? Because that's just not how it works, right? And it's the same with pro wrestling. You can't go in there and just go through the motions when you're training. We talk about that all the time. It's like, man, you got to be in your character. This, as much as this is a drill we're doing that everyone's going through, you need to put your character into this drill, and you need to do what we're doing in your character. So so the way that this coach talked about it is like, you got to practice at this level, right? Because there's going to be a little fall off, and then when you get to that time where you need all of it, you have that potential to do that because you've been practicing at that level, and if there's a little fall off, it's not going to be as bad as if you were practicing at this level and now you're trying to raise your game for the circumstances. So definitely something that's important when you're working on your craft is, you can't just be going through the motions. It can't be emotionless. It has to be in character. And I'm wondering, like, as I'm demonstrating things during our class, if our guys are noticing that, because I'm always super animated while I'm demonstrating things. I'm like, give me that guy's arm, and I'm just like, ah! Get just over the top, because I feel like if you're over the top, you can always rein it back in a little bit. But if you're at a certain level, you're not going to be able to just raise the level, at a moment's notice.
I don't think they notice until it clicks. You know what I mean? And I think
Sure.
everyone's so timid. We got so many people are just so timid. Like I tell them all the time, get gay, man. Be as gay as you can. And I don't even mean that in a bad way. Just like, look, do something that would embarrass yourself, because that's what it's going to actually take when you're doing that. So no, I 100% until it clicks, man. We talk about that all the time. You can train all day. It's going to click. Some guys click faster than others. Some guys it'll never click for them, man. That's why so many people start out and they stop and then they come back. One of the things I hate is listening to people talk about, oh, whatever happened to this guy? And they go, oh, I talked to him a couple weeks ago. He said, I'm thinking about coming back. Stay out. Stay away. You're wasting everybody's time. I'm thinking about coming back. That's the worst answer I've ever heard in my life. If somebody has quit and they have walked away, and then they'll hit you up and message you to ask how things are going, then they'll be like, I was thinking about coming back in and rolling around a little bit. Well, do that somewhere else. You don't need to do that here, because I don't want you to waste my time. And I got a lot of students, and we have a goal. We're headed somewhere. So let's not waste anybody's time. And speaking of that, please, everybody, just hit that little subscribe button for us. What do we gotta do? Do we gotta, I don't know. You want me to cut a little promo on you? Do I got to cut a little promo on you to get a subscriber around these parts, ladies and gentlemen? Paul, you got anything?
Man, just looking forward to your show this weekend. This should be big, man. I'm hoping that there's a big crowd. It sounds like you've been doing your due diligence promoting. So
Don't make me show you my feet, okay? And I'm excited. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't come to live in the dream, get your ass up to answer the call because me and a very big man who's excited about it will be there. Hey, I'm Prime Time. That's the Wrecking Ball. Subscribe to our stuff. Wait a minute. Is that a going over shirt?
oh, don't you wish?
No, it isn't.
It isn't. It
Joseph
isn't.
Broseph
Joseph
Joe
Joe
Brody.
Brody.
AJ Kirsch going over.